Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named The Providers and Friends titled Perfect Day. And if we switch over to here, now we have ourselves the art on the screen here. Apparently this is a project from Liz Doc Cunningham as well as Audie Smith. Yeah, apparently it was written by Liz Doc Cunningham as well as Audie Smith, Colin Britton, and then finally Travis Wyrick. And there were also a hand-picked group of collaborators such as Dave Kennedy on lead vocals. There's also other professional session players and other collaborators involved. So this is a group effort. It'll be good to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're gonna hear what we think. Let's go, Perfect Day.
Since we were both knee high, you never smiled at me, you never winked at night. You broke my heart and didn't even know it. Now you're all grown up, nothing has changed. Keep praying for sunshine and getting the rain. I can love you, baby, just need a chance to show it. I'm a simple man with a one-track mind, driving like hell towards the finish line. When it comes to love, there ain't no speed limit. Yeah, it don't matter if it's fast or slow. Only one thing to know: if you had a perfect day, would I be in it?
Let's transition over to keys.
This collar from blue to white, I'd show you the time of your life for one night. I can promise you, girl, you won't forget 1 minute. Trade that Benz for a bucket seat in a 4x4 sitting next to me. We're driving till the sun comes up, baby, you'll be spinning. I'm a simple man with a one-track mind, driving like hell towards the finish line. When it comes to love, there ain't no speed limit. Yeah, it don't matter if it's fast or slow. Only one thing to know: if you had a perfect day, babe, would I be in it?
Great turns over. Have both, just they're kind of driven. And the slides.
Life is short and then we all die. They say it can't be over in the blink of an eye. We're here one day, gone the next minute. Hey, pretty baby, my truck's outside. The sun's out, the weather's fine. Let's go for a ride. It's your perfect day. Can I be in it? I'm a simple man with a one-track mind, driving like hell towards the finish line. When it comes to love, there ain't no speed limit.
Nice line there.
Now it don't matter if it's fast or slow. Only one thing to know: if you had a perfect day, would I be in it? Hey, it's your perfect day, baby. Can I be in it? Yeah, it's your perfect day, baby. Oh, it's your perfect day, baby. Yeah, it's your perfect day. Can I be in it?
No, that was charming. That's just a really great all-rounded performance. Lots to appreciate in there. We're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named The Providers and Friends, titled Perfect Day. In this section, I'm going to be providing an overall song analysis from vocals all the way through to production, as well as any applicable constructive critique, and then finally my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But first of all, what do we think this track is about? I think it's about someone asking the person that they're with that they really want to be a part of. They want to be intertwined there. There's a great sort of connection and attraction between them. Basically, they want to know if they're going to be involved in their perfect day. You know, driving around, love having no speed limit, etc. there. It's just they discuss what they would do if they're together, you know, driving until the sun comes up, you know, and they'd be spinning. But then they're also not necessarily sure if they would be involved in their perfect day. So it's kind of two different conversations we're having there. We're kind of courting, I suppose, if you will. I think that the way that it's sung and spoken, or at least like communicated or sort of directed, it is done in a way where it's kind of conversational and kind of just very pleasant to listen to. It's very wholesome. The vocals in general are done very well. They're neat, articulate. They work well within the country rock styling there. Both mains and lead backings have nice, good quality vocal technique, very comfortable in the head and chest voice. Some legato techniques, interesting sort of tails, variation with them, not to get too used to them. They harmonize neatly with surrounding elements within the composition, and they take turns and call and respond off of each other, and they also allow room for the instruments to breathe as well, so that things don't become too soaked or overwhelmed. Ultimately, it's a very sort of like lush track with a lot of different little intricacies instrumentally and vocally, and the production is tight. But it's just nice to have the expression, the emphasis of the vocals, not being too over the top here. You know, like you can kind of imagine them kind of singing it to a person as well as singing about it. Good quality vocal technique. The notes are hit cleanly, and I like that we do some sort of more sort of like fancy stuff technique wise, but we don't oversell it. The track itself is 4 minutes 21, and so it's outside of the 2 to 4 minute sweet spot, where typically it's over 4 minutes. We need to add more to the piece with like varying solo sections or different extra sections, or we need to add more instrumental development in order to keep a track, you know, remaining to be compelling for longer than what's initially instantiated. And here I think the combination of vocals as well as guitar, bass, drums, keys, and organs do very, very well here. I mean, we have different verses and different chorus sections, like a middle later interlude section, several guitar solos, various instrumental breaks, and ultimately it's just very compelling throughout there. We never sit on our laurels too much or allow ourselves to remain with one sort of core idea with one sort of amount of combination or layers for too long. Even from the start with the glissando with the keys there, you get the sizzle of those just overdriven guitars there, some bendy pentatonic licks on the lead there before we get into the full glow of things. You get the instruments sort of introducing themselves. I mean, it kind of sounds like the engine is starting, which considering the subject matter of the lyrics makes a lot of sense. I also, just going back to the vocals very, very briefly, I liked that the female vocals, that their backing parts were just notched an octave above where the main guy's vocals were, that they just harmonized so neatly. I didn't mention that. We didn't overcomplicate the vocal harmonies either. We just kind of stacked them for presence and extra oomph when required. It was very good. And I think that keeping an eighth note groove on the kit with a mixture of crash, kicks, snares, and hi-hats, as well as having a kind of a 12-bar bluesy kind of approach to the rhythm guitar elements in there, gives it a nice sort of shuffly feel. Whilst kind of letting you know there's more in the tank, but it's enough kind of push behind it to let you know that you're going to be throwing down a little bit. And you get not only the kind of driven, kind of pushed guitars, but you also get the kind of slider little like cleaner lead guitar licks on top with sort of like adequate legato technique there to let you know that not only you're going to get one type of guitar tone, you're going to get multiple, and they're both going to be pulling their way throughout. I think when the vocals come in and you take away certain layers to allow more presence for the vocals in the mix, it's just a sensible decision because it lets the listener know where they need to focus. And this is kind of AABA section or structure to these verse sections instrumentally there, which makes it very sort of like satisfying from a listening perspective. You've had a bit of kind of adjustment to that B part, but then we're back to what we know there, and we're doing another loop and going through it. And then they do adjust some sort of like ear candy-ish bits there as we do these tails there, with different sort of like slightly variances to the vocal parts there, just not to have it too constant. But like we have a nice combination of a semi-predictable bass line and sort of like the rhythmic elements there, with the drums being nice and constant with the push and sort of groove of it. Just still whilst finding niches to color. And I like that we have some sort of like interesting major tones there with what there are some minor pentatonic elements here. It doesn't become cheesy, I think, because we don't try to hide the major tonality of some of the turns to some of those lead elements. It doesn't sound like we're forcing it in there, though. There's a certain charm and kind of whimsy, I suppose, to the way some of those bends sort of inflect upwards. And the way that we go into the chorus and have that call and response with the keys popping off after the "Will I Be In It" part was just really nice. It's in a similar range to the vocals, which catches your attention there, but it's kind of almost like a mildly staccato. Bop, 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 bop. It's like an alternate rhythmic layer, whilst also being a new element that we might not necessarily have heard as clearly up until now. But it sticks its head out, lets you know, hey, again, there's gonna be more sort of. It makes you wonder, is there gonna be a piano solo later on? It just amalgamates neatly as a texture and within the track itself there. There's nothing poking its nose out unnecessarily. It's great to have occasional fills as well on the drum kit head and not just need to rely on that 8th note cymbal groove there with the floor toms and snares being pushed in. Like, we know that we can do more on a kit, but I also think the drummer, to be fair, is pocketing in a similar way that I think the guitarists and bassists and other instruments are doing most of the time, simply because, again, the focal point of this track is the vocals and the storytelling that's in place. And I should note that it's not just that we have call and responses from the keys like in the chorus section. The lead guitars are popping off in certain parts as well. That, you know, we are allowing ourselves simply to not have a lot of like blank space. It's kind of like the push and pull between having enough minimalism to allow ourselves to focus on a story being told, whilst when that story goes away, we're being sort of like compelled by all these other kind of like colorful elements in the mid-range. So by the time we get into that solo section around the 1:50 mark or so, we are very sort of comfortable with the idea of having this kind of leady guitar doing hammer-ons and pull-offs and bends and slides and all that kind of stuff there. And it's got a nice sort of sizzle there that rolls off a lot of the already kind of overdriven elements through the rhythm guitars in those chorus sections there. And then when we get into the kind of slide guitar part and the second half of it and the way that's extended, it's a far sort of cleaner texture. It's not as kind of gritty, and it's just a fresh sort of like tone within the piece there, and it catches you by surprise because of that, and it contrasts well with the overdrive and other elements within the piece. And it's actually, both performances are very proficient, but especially some of the 30-second or 16 30-second notes that we have at the end of that cleaner guitar part is wonderful. Like, it's just very precise there in terms of the phrasing and cadence of it. Like, we clearly can play the guitar very well, and as I've said, we've been pocketing with most of the instruments here. And we've got really talented musicians who put a lot of work into their craft and put their best foot forward for this. So all that intensity and like push and effort you have culminates in like it coming down again, simply because I think we're at that point where we're familiar or like aware of how high we've gone, and we need to bring it back down again, which is why we had that kind of middle eight or like low key one without as much of a kind of like a push forward with the kit. And it's not like we stay there for too long there. We have like a kind of an 8th or 16th note syncopated drum groove with big bends on the guitar there leading us back into the chorus for a final time, but it's just enough to be able to have a break from like the intensity of what we had prior. I think when we get into the kind of push and vocal fry in that outro section before the variation of can I be in it or will I be in it, it's just nice to have the vocalists by themselves asking that question there before that big sort of like outro section. It's just a massive finish there with all the instruments coming in after that drum solo, which is wonderfully articulate as well. It was interesting having the toms on the right side of the stereo field filling in when it wasn't in the middle. It kind of tells me that we might be working with like a jazz setup or something like that without like a low tom or something like that. I could be wrong, but either way, it's just very cool. It's just very cool. And I think that line there, asking can I be in it or will I be in it, like whichever variation of that, and is so important because it's almost like we're being far more blunt about our intention at that point in time. We've already had enough sort of extrapolation there. We need to get down to the crux of the matter. So ultimately, with all the stuff that I discussed and probably more that I haven't included there, we simply have a track that's wonderfully fleshed out, very well played, all the instruments, again, like the organ is just a wonderful sort of like warm kind of mid-range to upper range texture with a glow and a bit of vibrato and oscillation there that helps it kind of warble and fits neatly behind some of the honky-tonkish kind of piano parts we have there, oscillating again between the quarters and fifths and stuff like that, and working alongside the progressions and power chord 1/6 elements of the guitars. And again, because of the guitar solos kind of switching things up, and again the really varied vocal performance, we're just left to sort of, I suppose, discuss the theme thematically there. I think this was a song that was explicitly going for that kind of country blues kind of rock kind of like combination of elements there. I think that it suited in spades, not least because again the slide guitar stylings of the solo sections there, the kind of crisp kind of like push of those sort of like overdriven guitars that added kind of a mildly kind of raunchy tone to it. But it's also the drums with the way they were approached and elevated there with the consistent eighths there, just really allowing ourselves to kind of like nod our head and get lost in it. It's got a sense of catchiness as well because of the rhythm section. And I think the major leading overall, despite some of the pentatonic stylings of certain components there, ultimately sort of like shows an appreciation for the possibility it could be in this person's perfect day in the first place. We're enjoying the chase at the very least. And I don't really know what we could have added to this in order to really improve it, really. It's just it's just a great song. It's just a great song, I can tell I put a lot of love into it. Not no doubt of place, so the performance is very, 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 very good. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering is fantastic. I like the quality of the overall experience there. The production is tight. The vocals, guitar takes, various guitar takes, the tones and textures are really effective. Really, easy to hear in the mix. They're nicely spread around the stereo field, as well as the different bass, guitar, the bass, drum, key, and organ elements there. There's no weird resonances in the free spectrum either. Things are well niched in their various octave and pitch ranges. There is dynamic range to the track. It's mostly sort of like compositional because things are pretty tightly glued in the bus, but it's nice and loud with a bit of pumping, bass compression, limiting the sound. Yep, no applicable constructive critique for me. I think that from a general listener's perspective, I think it's kind of a cool conversation to have. It's just a very, I know wholesome can kind of seem a little bit patronizing. I don't mean it like that. I mean, sincerely, it is just not, it's nice to hear someone kind of asking if they are in that person's perfect day as opposed to assuming that you are. So I think that there'll be an audience for this kind of track. I think people will groove and go along to it sincerely. And great time listening through The Providers and Friends. Thank you for watching my review of this track titled Perfect Day. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via their various social medias. And I'm sure this will be on all digital streaming platforms. And stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as need the help more than ever with all the great stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.